there's been an 80% reduction in competition. So what are you seeing? The great teams, the great agents, their revenue is going up. Their sales are going up. The rich are getting richer. This is Byron Lazine and Nicole White, and you are tuned into episode 126 of The Real Word.
Word is up.
Word is up. You're not showered up, but the word is up.
I am not showered. Luckily for all those people that are listening and not looking, you're saved this week.
Yeah.
I came directly from a workout.
It's tough to smell you through the podcast.
Well, you said that I actually didn't smell bad.
You smell fine.
So good.
I did. From here.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my butt into shape. So
all right, let's get into it. USA, no, not USA Today. Fox News.
No, you went to Fox News.
The Fox News.
You went right to the resource.
We're dancing around a little bit. We're trying to mix it up. Mm-hmm. Fox News states how to choose the right real estate agent during your divorce.
In a divorce.
During a divorce. USA Today
doing
has...
it.
Yep, we're doing it. They've cited that 31% of couples responded that the quarantine has adversely impacted their relationship.
Oh, it was a negative. 31 had negatively hurt?
Yeah,
Interesting.
31% said the quarantine negatively hurt.
You know, I'd actually like to know, though, how the quarantine has helped some couples, though.
It probably has. I think it's been fine for mine.
Yeah. No, but I mean, like, people that were, like, in the negative and, you know, now maybe in the positive.
Rediscovered love.
Yeah.
ABC News concurs that divorces will surge after the pandemic loosens up, or mostly the quarantine. Basically, as divorce courts open up, they think there's going to be a flood of divorces. So, Nicole, I ask you, you've dealt with plenty of divorce situation clients, couples that need to sell their home, select a real estate agent for their sale, and maybe the purchases after. What are your tips for somebody that is thinking about hiring an agent because they are getting divorced? What should they do?
So I feel like each divorce is so different. I guess it kind of depends. Is it amicable? Is it, I had one time, the wife was actually allowed to pick the real estate agent, but I was written into their divorce.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like I had to be the representing agent that was like written in the divorce. So
any other perks? Or you get a car? Or?
No, there was no car. But anyway, I do think, to be really honest, I do think that this is probably one of the situations, and this is just me personally, where you're probably not necessarily wanting to hire a friend. I think that it's wildly...
who wrote this? Rob Wynn, who is an agent, and he's been on Real Trends, which we're going to talk about later.
Yep.
He's been on Real Trends 10 years straight, top 100 agents in America. He said the same thing, Nicole. Don't hire a friend.
No friend, no family. I think, though, that if either party trusts an agent, I mean, I would 100% be more than happy to like liaison, you know, where if they did trust you. But I definitely wouldn't let a friend represent either party. I mean, again, especially if they were friends mutually or if one had a separate, I wouldn't even go there. I do think that interviewing obviously during this time is like wildly important. You know, how obviously effective are they? What are they going to do? I do think that this 100% needs to be more than ever a business transaction.
Yeah, it needs to be a total business transaction. If they're getting along, to your point, and they both agree that's the best agent in our neighborhood, hands down, go ahead, move forward. If it's going to be an easy peasy divorce, but if there is toxicity in the divorce,
the husband
that's not going to work.
Won't want to work with the person that the wife picks.
Not only that, I've been in these divorce situations where these people are just straight up lying. They are liars. They're like, oh yeah, we want to sell the house.
Yep.
And one person secretly has no intentions of selling the house. All they have intentions to do is
they're like declining all the showings, and then the other side doesn't even know.
Yeah.
Which does lead us to the next thing, though. You were talking about communication. I mean, this is, again, another time as an agent to over communicate. Like everything needs to be given to everybody. I wouldn't even be opposed to finding out maybe who each attorneys are to make sure that the attorneys are sort of abreast on what's going on there too. I mean, this is really, and again, what's super interesting is that they could be amicable at the beginning, but at any moment, anything could really.
Yeah, I mean, that's where my advice is going to sit. You can read the article, obviously, if you want to see what that advice is, but mine would be, anything outside of a very friendly divorce, which doesn't happen very often, would be to have the attorney interview 3. You can go, and we're going to talk about the real trends, and the America's Best is about to come out in a couple days through real trends. You can find out very easily by going to that website, who are the top 3 agents in my region? Who are the top 3 teams? Who are the top 3 agents in my region? Now, does either party want to remove somebody from that hat? Okay, no, we've got our 3. Let the attorney interview those 3. Let him or her pick for you, and let them be the communicator between that agent or team. The buyer, the sellers at this point, the divorced couple, they can't make logical decisions. They're acting off of an emotion. That's how they got to this point to begin
lots
with.
of sellers are working off of emotion, but...
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Very true. But that's how they got to this point to begin with. They're over emotional. They're in this very stressful state of their life. Allow somebody who, the trusted attorney, maybe you guys both have your divorce attorney, and you select a real estate attorney to interview these 3, and you pay them a small fee.
I mean, and more now than ever, this is certainly going to be a situation of wanting to win too. So you have to be super mindful of that going into that situation too. That's certainly where their mindset will be to who's gonna win. So,
but I do think it comes down to interviewing out of the top 3. Why are you going to ever, really in any scenario, consider anybody in the bottom 3 or the middle 3?
Right.
Doesn't make any sense. The goal here in the divorce is get the most money, get rid of the deal, and move on with your lives.
Keep it neutral as possible, for sure.
Put it in the best in your marketplace hands.
Well, that kind of makes me sad. I kind of want to see how many people are doing better.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. All these news outlets. I mean, if you Google it, Nicole,
well, those are news. I mean, you did. You Googled it. You Googled how many people are doing better. Do they even ask those questions? They probably don't even. That won't even be a header. Nobody cares about how well people are doing. Everybody just wants to know how shitty everybody else is doing.
If you type into Google "divorces in pandemic," you get USA Today, Surge, New York Post, coronavirus is leading so many couples to divorce.
Surge. I see Surge. Surge.
The pandemic has slowed the divorce process because the courts aren't open. Once they open, explosion will happen.
Wow.
Planning for your divorce during the COVID. It is just like on and on and on. I feel bad for those couples that have been locked up that hate each other. But that is probably their motivation to get out of that deal, and wish them luck with that. All right.
Yeah.
Racket number 2.
Racket number 2? Oh, wait. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Racket number 2.
Well, you have 3 rackets, but is this like the Marketeer?
No. The third one's the Marketeer.
Oh, okay.
I'll explain why.
Okay.
Do sales competitions work? It's an Inman article, a simple way to double your agent's production. This is based off of a Utah real estate team, or Sisu rather, was built around this Utah-based real estate team. We use Sisu. Sisu allows you to track all of the, if you're, any real estate team or agent and you want to track all your conversion numbers, everything, Sisu allows you to do that. It also allows you to create competitions within it. 50
Well, yeah. I mean, are those even created, or are they just always there? I mean, there's like leaderboards. Did you start those leaderboards?
No. Sisu does that.
Does it? Yeah.
But you can create a game, additional games and leaderboards.
I think the leaderboards are enough. Every once in a while, I check on the leaderboard.
This is Brandon Doyle on Inman, and he's referencing again this team. That is doing just that. They're using Sisu to create healthy competitions within their team. They're calling it gamification. It's become popular in sales because you can tweak the system to produce the exact results you're looking for. Right. Obviously, if you can get the buy-in. What's interesting here in this article is 50%. We've seen a 50% reduction in transactions during COVID. Our market's seen about a 30% reduction. So it's probably different based on wherever you are.
Right.
But they reference there's been an 80% reduction in competition. So what are you seeing? The great teams, the great agents, their revenue is going up, their sales are going up, the rich are getting richer, and the poor in real estate agents, they're just getting out of the business altogether. They're probably trying to figure out how they get unemployment or something like that.
Wow.
So, I mean, what else would they be doing?
I don't know.
Maybe they're getting a job. Maybe they're getting a job. I doubt it. They didn't have a job to begin with. They were real estate agents. So, big shout out right there to all my part-time agents. You guys know how much I love you, you know? So, Nicole, do you think sales competitions work? They've always flopped for us. What do you think?
Well, I think it depends. Yes. I think that they're wildly helpful if they're not forced on people, for sure. I think that if people willingly and want to get involved. It's interesting that you said that. Remember last year around this time, I won a trip to Paris.
Yeah, you did. That was more luck than anything. You didn't do anything for that.
I did open houses. Remember, It
was a drawing, though.
But you were only entered into that one drawing if you did a certain amount of open houses. Right. So I was maybe one of however many.
Like 4,000.
No, again, it was like because we were doing two a weekend. It was a bunch. It was like I think you had. I don't even remember the number.
Did you ever use that?
I did. I was able to transfer it over, so I took the kids to Universal with it.
And so that was William Ravis competition, our broker. By the way, this Fox News article, I don't know if you think look at this, Nicole.
Yeah.
Look at the sign they're using.
Oh, look
the Fox
at that.
News
They're using
article.
William Ravis. How amazing. So I think if people voluntarily participate, I think it's helpful. I think though that people do need to win something to keep going too.
If they're going to be in last place or whatever.
Well, and I don't mean that everybody needs a medal. I think there needs to be there. I do think that if I won that trip, which was great. So now I'm certainly going to be signing up for it again next time.
Right.
But
if you lost, you should have gotten a $10 gift card.
I don't know. I was just sort of
here's where
no one wins that trip, but I did.
The system breaks down when one of these three things happens.
So you don't like the whole gamification thing, huh?
Well, I'm gonna comment on it in a second.
Okay.
The system breaks down when one of these three things happen. You rely on your agents to enter 100% of the data for obvious reasons. There won't be a lot of enthusiasm around that. So getting them to actually input data. Nicole,
I love inputting data.
You know that as well. Mm-hmm. Tie it to your CRM so your agents can stick to their current process. So they're saying, if your agents are using Sisu every day like ours are, then putting it right into Sisu would make a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. You don't have a live scoreboard. Can you imagine going to a basketball game without a live scoreboard? There'd be no drama, no excitement, and less competition. Now, here's one thing I've heard about live scoreboards in our office, even from some agents who have worked for us. That the scoreboard gives them anxiety.
Makes them anxious.
It makes them anxious.
Do you remember when you were in elementary school and you were doing the times tables? And if you got past the 3, there'd be a star. Come on, Sam, you remember it? And then you had to get to the 4s, and it was always running, and everyone saw how much you sucked because you were still in the 2s, and everybody else was in the 6s and the 7s. No, I'm not that much older than you, Sam. Damn it. It is hard. It does. It makes you anxious, but it also probably makes you a little self-conscious. But I think that people need to feel uncomfortable. How else are you going to push yourself unless you feel uncomfortable? You need to feel like you're at the bottom. You need to feel uncomfortable. It's the one thing that probably drives me the most. I look at the leaderboard. I sometimes like to see myself at the bottom because then I'm like, damn it, Nicole, get dressed. Let's go. Yes.
I think the best thing to do is what we're doing, accountability groups. We've seen our Sisu numbers, our tracking numbers, all of our numbers. We're in our second accountability group. We're doing these 6-week accountability
Love
groups.
It. Look at I'm going to the gym because of it. It's been 30 years.
The agents that are picking, business, and all of us are picking personal stuff, myself included, but the agents that are picking business related topics and then having a peer hold them accountable to those tasks are doing those at an overwhelmingly higher rate. And that's the goal of a sales competition. So I'm a bigger believer in accountability groups where you have a peer who's checking in on you every day, or you're required to send them what you're supposed to be doing. That to me works better because there are going to be some people that shy away from competition, that don't enjoy heavy competition. And they even reference that here. They say sometimes too much internal competition can be counterproductive. It can be unhealthy. There's a fine balance. You can also, as a team, decide to go and compete against another team in another state. We did that once with a team in Massachusetts, Chinati team, #1 team in Mass.
Yeah.
I think we beat them, by the way.
I think though that I think where it also becomes really important is that I think the individual also needs to know what they're capable of, right? I mean, I don't know that I would ever necessarily go head to head with certain agents just because I know what I'm capable of. Like I know the additional responsibilities that I have. So I think the people that are getting anxious about these scoreboards are just sort of concentrating on like the end and instead of like sort of
the embarrassment,
right,
feeling.
instead of concentrating on how have you improved, how are you doing better, instead of how am I doing compared to somebody else.
Right.
I think they're helpful because they push you, but it doesn't also mean that you need to win, because like we always say, like even if you got an 85 on like the test, like you still like did better than 0. So
I know Tom Ferry is a huge believer in sales competitions. I agree with what's written here in the Cinnamon article that there's a very fine line to walk with. You know, in Tom Ferry's company, for example, those are employees, right? Where when you have a real estate team, you have independent contractors, and it is different. You would think independent contractors, they've got their own independent business. They should be highly motivated to compete and enjoy that competition. But a lot of people that are joining a team are joining it for a particular reason, to be a part of something,
right,
to not feel alienated,
right,
to be able
support.
to be able to have support, to, you know, be able to have a little bit more balance in their life. You know, it's really like the team leader who's the ultra competitive person. That's why they started a team to begin with. So I think you do have to be careful. You know, I think the bigger the prize too. They had a prize here, Nicole. Top agent got $1,000. Second place got $500. Third place got $250. Like if you have huge prizes, that can motivate more people to participate. But I agree, you have to get voluntary buy-in from everybody.
You have to voluntarily do it. You can't force it. But wasn't there an article once before? We're gonna have to look back on this one. I swear we talked about it. Remember the prize almost got too big, where people then didn't work towards it.
Yeah.
Do you remember talking about that?
I don't, but I could see that happening too.
I'm gonna have to look
where
back on
they're like,
those.
oh, so and so is always gonna win these, and that prize is so big, I'm never gonna win. They're gonna go hard for it so much.
Yeah,
I like your idea. Like if you have a small team, 10, 15 people, which Real Trends does not consider that a small team. We'll talk about that in a second for the Marketeer. But if you have a small team, I think that what you said earlier, you could give everybody some kind of prize. I actually like this. I want to run this by you for something I think we could do with our team. What if we had a competition, not for sales, but for social media engagement, I'm thinking. I'll explain later when we're off the podcast. But where you had a pool of prizes. You know, we have 13 agents, I believe. So you have 13 prizes. And like one of them's like a session with a video session with Sam. So you know what you're getting. It's a 2-hour session with Sam. But then another prize could be like a brown paper bag covering a wine bottle, like valued at ? You don't know. So the person that wins the competition gets to pick out of the pool of prizes first. Could almost be like that.
The Chinese grab bag.
Where it's like
I pick this.
At
like
the end,
you got to open up this.
At the end, you may be able to steal once you see them all open.
It's like Christmas in July at one company.
The winner picks first, and then they get to see everything, and then they can steal it at the end. But then everybody else is kind of stuck with what they get. Could be fun.
Yeah, no, I think it could be fun. But it's so everybody's getting something, but the winner gets whatever they want.
The winner is picking what they want out of that prize, and once they see the ones uncovered, they could trade at the very end. So your incentive to win is you are going to choose your prize. You know
what? I have to be honest. I feel like that's a great way to end it too, because you're competing this whole time, and then at the very end, you're laughing and having fun and socializing.
Little cocktail hour, yeah.
Okay.
You like that?
That's good.
Came up with that myself.
Just right now?
No. I was thinking about this a couple nights ago. Yeah.
You don't even like hanging out though. Like you'd have to actually sit and hang out.
We could Zoom it. All right. Marketeer of the week is Real Trends. The trusted source. Real Trends, the 1,000. Real Trends, America's best. They've got it all. They're partnered with Tom Ferry, so Real Trends plus Tom Ferry. Their top 1,000 has come out, okay? If you're on the top 1,000, this is a great marketing opportunity for you.
Yep.
Inman article says that Keller Williams Compass agents win big as Real Trends adjust their ranking systems.
Oh, they adjusted.
Yes. So here's what happened, Nicole. There was a lot of backlash in previous years Rankings were broken up into individual agent transactions, sides and sales volume, and agent team transactions, sides and sales volume. This year, though, there were some people that this is what they were doing. Mm-hmm. They were, like Nicole White. Mm-hmm. And really, Nicole White had a big team behind her, but because they've always marketed themselves as Nicole White, they were saying, I'm an individual agent. And people were like calling up Real Trends or email or whatever they were writing letters and saying.
So it wasn't Nicole White team, but it was Nicole White?
They're like Nicole, like Chris Cortazzo, who's always a number one agent in Malibu usually. Okay. Chris Cortazzo is now labeled as a team where he was labeled as an individual, I believe, last year. I'm not picking on him. As the example,
Chris, right?
I'm just saying I happen to see Chris Cortazzo labeled as a team. I always thought of him as an individual agent,
right?
And he uses his name, doesn't use team, he just uses Chris Cortazzo. But apparently, according to Real Trends, he is a team because that's where he fell into the rankings of the top 1,000. He did like over $300 million. So shout out to you.
Fine.
He's doing great.
Yeah.
But he's got this big staff behind him. I think they're saying staff and number of people. So
we've always said that too. If you have an admin, you're a team.
Right. We've always said that, but apparently Real Trends has not.
Right.
They're now classifying a small team as 2 to 5 people. So like you and an admin would be a small team. Medium 6 to 10. Large 11 or more. We'd be categorized as large.
Wow.
I don't agree, but this is what they've kind of come up with.
There's other teams that have like hundreds.
That's right.
How do you compete?
The biggest issues with everybody were that there was couples. Like couples too were identified as a single
people
agent.
Just complained about everything on this.
Yeah. I mean, people. Here's the deal. So like people. Like if they're in second place, they're going to find a way to come in first. Like the America's Best, we didn't make the top 1,000, and we were in the large agent team, so we would have had to make like the top 60 teams for volume in the country. We're on the doorstep of some of these categories, I would say.
What do we need to do? Kick out some of our agents? We want to be a medium team?
We could go down to a small team, be fine. No. We will be on the America's Best. We'll be number 1 in our region by far. Won't even be close when that comes out in a couple days. Shout out to all my local peeps. Love you guys.
But who are you shouting out to?
All the local agents. We're going to be number 1, and I'm happy about that.
So then you're giving them a shout out?
I'm giving them a shout out. I had a lot of shout outs on this episode.
I'm not even understanding. That sounds kind of mean.
Sounds kind of mean? Well, they can join us. We're going to put out some recruiting videos here.
We've been talking about it long enough.
Yeah. All right. So
you know who's on there though? I saw our friend at Lauren Friedman.
She probably would make the top 1,000. She's local. Mm-hmm. Lauren's a great agent.
Yep. I mean, killing
Phenomenal. So, you've got all these different categories. We're going to link up the site, obviously. You can go check it out, see if you're on there. You would already know if you're on there. Chinati Group, who I mentioned earlier in the episode, they made it for the large teams. 66 teams out of this top 1,000.
She has like her team is an office.
Oh, yeah, she's well above the 11.
She's like her own brokerage.
She's like, she is now, actually.
Yeah.
She has her own brokerage now.
Yeah.
She did $183 million last year. Al Filippone was just behind her at 65. William Ravis top team at 180 million.
Connecticut guy, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think that's Ravis's top team still. I'll scroll up here, see if any other. And he's categorized in the large team, so I don't know like any of these brokerages that had, big or smaller.
Oh, wait, number 1,
675 million. And this is for
New York.
Volume, large teams by volume. We go medium teams by volume. The top one, the Altman brothers, did $382 million. If we do small teams by volume, the small team by volume did $633 million out in New York City.
Wow.
I'm not going to say it.
You're not going to say it? Why? Because you can't say it?
The Succanek and Glazer team.
Say it again.
That can't be it.
That was good.
Sorry, guys. Succanek.
That was
Mauricio in third for that.
It was sort of like suck my neck, like suck a neck.
So like Joshua Flagg, who's on the show. Do you know who that is?
Yeah,
he's on the show Beverly Hills $1 million
listing. Yep.
It always appears that Joshua Flagg is an individual agent on the show. Mm-hmm. He's classified here under small teams. He came in 8th on the list. So that means
he has two.
It means he's probably got 4 assistants.
Or 3. He gotta.
Or whatever.
I mean, he's on TV.
Yeah.
Didn't he just get married? I mean, things are happening with him.
It's all possible. Possible, Nicole. Ron Wynn, who wrote the Fox News article, Racket Number 1, he's on the list for small teams. And it's just his name, Ron Wynn, Compass, Santa Monica, number 16, small team list for volume, $221 million.
Wow, California's cleaning it up.
Yeah, if you go down this list, look at this, Nicole. If you go down this list, and I'm on the small team still by volume, you can go into the other categories. Number 1, New York, Beverly Hills, Bellevue, Washington, Menlo Park, California, Naples, Florida, John R. Woods, Beverly Hills, New York, California. Oh,
look, there's a Florida. There's a Ravis agent right there in Florida.
Campbell and Prebish, William Ravis. They're at number 17 for small teams, $220 million. Good job, guys. California, New York, New Jersey, California. It's just insane.
It's
The California real estate market is bonkers.
Clearly doing just fine over there on the West Coast.
If you're in the top 1,000, that's something you want to market.
Congratulations.
And the reason why this is the Marketeer of the Week, not because they've partnered with Tom Ferry and we're big Tom Ferry fanboy and girls.
Did you think people were speculating that?
No, I don't think so, but I'll just make that statement. Real trends outside of, like, have you ever seen that email come across your inbox that says you've been nominated for Top Agent Award? Have you ever seen that?
I've never been nominated.
That magazine, Top Agent?
Nope.
All right. Well, it's not even a real nomination because once you click the thing,
they're like, give us $5,000 and you'll win. And you'll win.
Buy the coffee mug.
Yeah.
Do this.
Yeah.
Where it's like they don't care; they just want your money. Where Real Trends, and Carolina had to go through this for us, there's a whole bunch of back and forth. You've got to connect them with your broker. They've got to see like banks that, like, they've got to see all kinds of data for you to be on the list.
So are you applying for it, or do they reach out to you once they see your numbers and then you have to justify it?
You're applying. They're going to reach out to people that they see, like, especially in the top 1,000. If you haven't applied for top 1,000,
because it's super interesting because it goes back to this competition thing where, like, agents are responsible for inputting the information. I'd be like, you know what?
Well, listen, the agents that aren't inputting information on Sisu or whatever their CRM is or whatever are likely in the bottom half of this industry. They're likely on their way out in the next 4 years. The agents that are going to input this stuff are in the top 10% anyway. So they're inputting on their day-to-day. They're inputting on this. But the background check on Real Trends is legit. So if you're on the top 1,000 or if you're in the agent's best like we will be, use that in your marketing. Use that in your listing pitch. Use it in your listing presentation. Use it on social media. It's a big deal. And when people go and look you up, it's not going to be some phony coffee mug they're looking up. Right. It's going to be legit.
Right. Good.
Marketeer of the Week.
Awesome.
Next week, Nicole, I think we've got to get into the article that you brought up.
Oh, the foreclosures?
Post-Jim.
Yeah.
Sounds like foreclosures are not going to be nearly as bad as some of these headlines say they are. So we're going to talk about that next week.
Or people are speculating. I mean, how many times has a buyer been like, do I wait till next year because there's going to be all of these foreclosures?
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll have an answer for you next week. Look at us. We're like the news. Come back on the next episode of The Real Word.
Little preview to that. I do think that as this everything opens back up, you're going to see more inventory, and that could, impact sale price. So there may be an argument to wait, but I don't think it'll be for the foreclosures.
No, it's all very interesting.
If you got any information on that, we'd love to see it. Send us the article, the link, whatever. And if you've got a Marketeer of the Week, as things open up in your market, you see somebody doing something fabulous, please send it over to us. We'd love to talk about them here on The Real Word.
We would.
All right, guys.
All right.
Keep it real.
Bye, guys. I'll shower next week.